I need you to knock some sense into me. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
I enjoy listening to you. I don't always agree with everything.
All right, enough of this persiflage.
So, you want my question?
I'm certainly not going to get myself in trouble by telling you what to do.
That makes great sense. Gosh, that's good.
Did I overwhelm you with words and wisdom?
I've got 7 kids. I feel like I could call you every day.
Wait, you're telling me I'm wrong? Disconnect.
Yes, I am, Dr. Ray.
You just need to tune in to Dr. Ray, honey. He's got all the answers.
Am I right or am I right?
Probably.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
The man is right. From the studios of Living Bread Radio in Canton, Ohio, where I began here back when all the kids were at home. It's quieter here, and it smells a lot better. So I just stayed here even after the kids are out and about, and my wife and I, of course, are getting an unlisted address, make it a little tougher to find us and ask for money. Good to have you here. This is The Doctor Is In. It's been the name of the program for quite some time now. I am the doctor who is in, not a real doctor, and not in as in really cool. In as in present here for your calls, your questions, your comments at 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL. That is the number to call to get onto the program. Question about something or someone. Some struggle in your life. I'm not going to do therapy. Can't do that. Save that for the office. But we can talk a little bit, see what we can come up with. Maybe an idea or two for you to ponder in your direction. If you have a comment to help someone else, you get a lot of those. Or if you disagree with me, you go straight to the front. I mean, if you want to hurry straight to the front to not be right, that's up to you. Actually, the reason I do put you straight to the front is I better have a decent reason for why I said the way I said, or what it is that you think I missed, or else I hadn't really thought it through enough. Now, you don't think it through here on the call. It's very difficult to do. People say, how can you think of that stuff? Well, it's not so much that I think about it here on the call. It's that I've been doing this so long that anything that anybody calls in some form, maybe not that exact situation, but in some form, I've heard many, many times. So therefore, I can ask certain questions that would be designed to get me the kind of information and to get the person to flesh out the situation that they would like. So 877-57-EQUAL is the number. And just a thought for the day. Do whatever you do, give 100%. 100%. Unless you're donating blood. Just know that. Just know that. Okay, just to do a couple of the questions that I typically get before I go into the Mantle Log. Dr. Ray, have you ever written a book on narcissism? I have. It's all about me. Do you think some things are better left unsaid? Yes, I do. And that's usually right after I said it. What's your next book about? My next book, I believe, is going to be about reverse psychology. Don't Buy It is going to be our marketing song. Wait, so you sang Mac the Knife tonight at karaoke. Though I sang Mac the Knife. Well, that was not Betty. That's not bad. Betty was on the Good News Cruise, and she said she met me, and that I sang. Okay, I got it. Well, his real name was not Mac. It was short, and it was Machino. Machino the Knife. She said you could have picked a better Italian song. Well, on a Good News Cruise, what's a better song to sing than say, please release me? Or a song about a psychotic killer, huh? You could have picked a better Italian song. I wanted to do Ritorno a Me or C'è la Luna. But they didn't have it, Betty. They didn't have it. What made the look work? Many of you had the look as you were raising your children. I don't know the exact percentages, but I would believe if you went back, say, 3 generations, the look was probably owned by, I'm going to say, maybe 72% of parents. They had the look. Move it up another generation. It probably didn't drop too much 2 generations ago. Maybe it dropped to 60%. Last generation, I'll bet it was below half. And the young generation, they don't have it. They do not have the look. What was the look? The look was a warning. The look was, please get it under control. Please behave yourself. Please stop doing that. I'm giving you a sign that I'm preparing to act. That's what the look was. But there's nothing necessarily authoritative about a look, is there? Just a look. Yeah, but there was a countenance to the look. And the countenance spoke silently and said, I'm prepared to act if you ignore my face. And the nice thing about the look is it wasn't wordy. How can a look be wordy? Wasn't. It was a sign. It was, in psychological parlance, a nonverbal. The look itself, the first time, didn't work because it had to be connected to action. Oh, good. We got a call that may have disagreed with me. That's good. I put it straight to the front. If the look is paired with action enough times, and it usually doesn't take too many times because it's predictable. Kids are not dumb. If they can predict with 100% accuracy what you're going to do, they're not going to test it. It's when they can't predict with 100% accuracy. You got a 12% chance of actually doing something about it. They'll take their chances. It's not that much. But if the look is associated reasonably consistently with a high percentage of following action, pretty soon you don't have to do the action. You just do the look. Now, if you're a young parent and you have, goody, Paula says, I disagree with your advice. All right, Paula, you are going to be up front, but let's get some other calls too. I don't want to say don't call in because Paula's going to disagree with me right away quick, but that's all right. I can handle that. If, in fact, you're a young parent and you have the look, one of two things is going to happen to you. You're going to either be viewed as a parenting god or goddess. Other parents will look at you like, how did you do that? I can't get my kids to even listen to me, much less look at me. That's one. Or the other, and this should be a surprise, but it's not. Your children must be terrified of you for them to just get themselves under better control just because you looked at them. What do you do to intimidate them so badly at home? Now, you'd think that parents would be admired for having the look. The look is ultimately kind because the look generally doesn't have discipline following it. You don't have to discipline. The look's good enough. The look truncates the problem. But now, with the changes in parenting over the last generation or two, and the onslaught of the experts and their gentle parenting, the look is viewed as an autocratic kind of Neanderthal overbearing throwback. You're terrifying your children with that look. Now, the thing of it is now, if you look at a kid, they look back at you. What are you looking at? Here's my look in return. See, if you could see me right now, you could see that I'm looking. The look is ultimately very kind. It truly is. Because if your goal is to discipline less, the look will help you do that, but you got to be prepared to put the effort in up front. You got to be prepared to look, act a few times anyway. So pretty soon all you have to do is just look, without the act. Look, act. Decent combo. 877-573-7825. I will be delighted to speak with you. I'm Dr. Ray.
Another year has come and gone, and whether you like it or not, Uncle Sam requires you to make an accounting. Perhaps it's time to call Myler and Zipka. They work with you to legally minimize your tax bill and identify ways to reduce future taxes. Eliminate the nagging feeling that you're paying more taxes than you need to. Call Ken Zipka today at 734-930-5500. Myler and Zipka. Integrity, excellent value, and people dedicated to a long-term relationship. 734-930-5500.
How to get from point A to point B? That is often a question posed during coaching sessions with clients. They're trying to achieve a goal and reach their potential. They're at a certain point in their life and want to get to another point. As a Christian coach, I help clients get from point A to point B through C, Jesus Christ. When creating goals, how often do you invite Jesus into the conversation? I have daily conversations with him about my own life, from a client success to a financial setback. I talk about my frustrations and my joys. He's my coach when I communicate. He's my coach when I write. He's my coach when I create strategic plans. He's my coach when I coach my clients. Jesus Christ coaches me through scripture, through prayer, and through discernment. Coaches create environments where people can learn and grow. We can communicate movement towards achievement by inviting Christ into our lives to coach us. This has been a Christ-centered communication message. I'm Vanessa Denha-Garmo, a communications evangelist and host of Epiphany.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866 Ave Maria or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me here on The Doctor's In. A quick announcement. Normally, I'm not in this area, but I'm going to be here twice with two different talks. Tuesday, next week, March 3rd, The Logic of Being Catholic at Queen of Heaven Parish in Green, 7 o'clock. So if you want to show up there. And then, March 14th, the 13th I'll be in Cleveland, but that's the Babel Conference. I think they're sold out. March 14th, Christ the Servant Parish in Canton. They're having a fundraiser. You can go there and eat a meal, and I'm going to be doing some talking. So those are two places. That's unusual. I'm generally not much in northeastern Ohio anymore. Okay, Paul is going to get me my comeuppance. See what I did here wrong. Paula, I don't remember what I said. Help me out.
Hi, Dr. Ray. How are you today?
I'm doing okay, honey. What did I say?
Okay, well, anyway, I tried calling you on Friday, and there's no answer, so I think you were avoiding me, although your Harry told me that you do the not live shows. But anyway, you were talking to a woman who called about her daughter, whom she feels guilty because she didn't have, any autonomy in choosing her parents. And you commented that no one of us has a choice to choose our parents. So I wanted to say that you are wrong. You made a wrong statement. Let me explain. There are people out there that do believe they can choose their parents because they believe the lie of reincarnation. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because my mom and the majority of my 11 siblings, whom are all non-practicing Catholics, except for two, believe that lie. And the way it ties into me and my call today is I would like your prayers for healing of my relationship with my mom and one of my sisters whom is her favorite, and maybe share any advice that you may have on this. I've been going through most of my adult life asking God for this healing, and little by little it has been coming, along with I try not to go to that well that's dry, going to my mom for any kind of validation and stuff. She isn't capable of helping me, but there's other dynamics with how she favors the sister that is just under me and my family. So I have had to deal with abandonment, being overlooked, and the spirit of comparison. And recently, the Lord has brought on my heart that I have anger at my mom because she's never been there emotionally to support me in various difficult times in my life when I have gone to her. And this has been brought to my heart right before Lent.
Okay, let me jump in here, Paul. Let me jump in here real quick. First of all, it's about time for you right now to forgive your mom. It's about time for you to say, look, I couldn't pick which mom I had, which I'm going to prove to you why I wasn't a liar and that why you actually confirmed what I said. But I'll get to that in a second. It's time to let it go. It's time to say, my mom was not the kind of mom I wanted, and she never really has been. But the Lord is asking me to love her and forgive her anyway. That doesn't mean I have to enjoy being around her. It just simply means I got to let go of my resentments and my pain and my hurt. It's long past that time. That's first thing. Here's the second thing. Now, here's why you confirmed what I said. You didn't disagree with me. You said there are those who buy into the lie of reincarnation. And you said there are people who can pick their own parents. No, if it's a lie, you can't pick your own parents. In fact, you said basically you can't pick your own parents, which is what I said. Even if they believe that you can, they can't. So therefore, they confirm what you said and what I said. They can't pick their own parents, right?
Correct.
I knew it. I'm thinking, okay, why did I miss it when I said you can't pick your own parents because, you're being born and you can't go, I want that one. And why does Paula think that you can? And then you said there are people who think they can because they have bought into the lie that they can, which is if it's a lie that you can pick your own parents, then you can't pick your own parents. There you go. See, I knew it. I thought I was going to be wrong, but I wasn't, which means I was wrong. Paula, bless your heart, honey. You work on that with your mama. It's time. It is definitely time, and you'll lop a few days off of purgatory if purgatory were a time. Thank you, dear, for the call. 877-573-7825. I think, John, I'm going to get you in a second because I think you're absolutely right about that. But let me go to an anonymous, struggling mother here. Hi, Anonymous from Florida.
Well, technically from Texas, but it's fine.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I saw the F, and I thought, oh, well, that's Florida. No, it isn't Florida. Florida's FL. Okay, I got you. Sorry, dear.
Okay. That's okay.
The advice is going to be the same no matter what state you're from, so don't worry about that.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, long story short, we've called you in the past when he was younger, and now I'm reaching out to you again, but he's older and getting bigger, and temper tantrums are getting worse, and really, I think more on the dangerous side because he will flip furniture, he's busted holes in the walls, he, threatens to hit me or siblings when he's really angry. A lot of it's triggered by being overly tired, or if we sometimes even just give him the most simple correction. And it's gotten, like I said, just progressively worse. So my husband and I feel like we don't know what to do anymore, like besides obviously praying for him and giving him the consequences we've given him, and nothing really seems to be, he just doesn't care, it seems like, anymore what we do or what we take away from him. And so we're trying to figure out, should we take all of us to family counseling? I know you always say, like, it's not the kids, it's the parents that need to go. And so that's why I've been telling my husband that for a long time too. Like, what can we do to change ourselves? Or do we get our priests involved too from a spiritual perspective? Because the anger and the rage from such a young little boy who's never had any trauma, he has been homeschooled, Catholic school, homeschooled again, back in Catholic school because of the way he acts at home with me. He altar serves. He's already received First Holy Communion, First Confession. I mean,
Mom, I got a question for you here.
Go ahead. Yeah.
During those times he was in Catholic school, did they complain about him?
Never. They said his joy is wonderful.
No. No. Oh, gosh, I'm so shocked. I can't believe this.
I know.
I was expecting a kid who throws temper tantrums and busts stuff up. He's going to throw stuff at school. He's going to kick his teacher. He's going to punch other kids. You're telling me they think he's a great kid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then now I'm going to give you the bad news, dear, and I hesitate to do this because I don't want to make my callers feel bad. But this ain't making you feel bad. This will make you feel better in the long run.
Okay, good.
If you called me a while back and you said, here's what he's doing, and you and I talked, and maybe you went and bought my book, too, Discipline That Lasts a Lifetime.
Yep.
Okay. So you're definitely not following it, but I'll let that go for now. So if you say to me, it's only gotten worse. He's gotten bigger and stronger and nastier and more eruptive. It's just gotten worse. Now, we have one of two conclusions. One, your boy is flat out incorrigible. He is just a vile young man that nobody on God's green earth can control him, except the school, except the teachers. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and I'm saying this on the basis of when parents come back into my office after 3 years and say it's worse, you ain't doing anywhere near what you could have been doing. Mm-hmm. Now, and I know that. I have no doubt in my mind that I'm not in your home, but I don't doubt it. So that said, my dear, what if you said, what's your little guy's name?
Thomas.
That's the Greek. Tamoiai, which means he who explodes. Yeah, look it up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had Thomas, buddy, there's no more of these temper tantrums. That's just the way it is. There's not going to be any more temper tantrums. That's it. It's done. It's done. You're not 2 anymore. You're 7. I'm going to tell you now, son. If you do throw a temper tantrum for 3 days, you are without all privileges. And if during that time you throw another temper tantrum, we just start over. We start the 3 days over. Now, you'll be able to read, and you're not going to get the kind of food you like. You'll get good food, but it won't be your favorite. You're not going to get dessert. You're not going to get any of that stuff. That's the way it's going to be, son. We're not going to do this. And by the way, if you, I got to tell you, Thomas, if you throw anything, bust anything, kick anything in our house, which is your house too, I go straight to your favorite possession, and it is gone forever. If you do it a second,
all of that.
Okay, all right,
many times.
Okay, and I don't doubt that, but here's what people will say this to me when they come back. We've done that. Oh gosh, we've done all that. Oh, we've done all that. And then as we talk, okay, here's just a small authority test. If Thomas does something wrong and you say, Thomas, go to the table, please, and put your head down, I'll tell you when you can lift it. Would he go to the table and put his head down?
Sometimes yes, other times no.
Right. Who decides no?
Him. I mean, like, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what you're saying is you don't have authority. Mm-hmm. Your authority in his mind is questionable. You've not established it yet for whatever the reason, even though you said, we do that. We take all that stuff. Because if you did do that stuff, he wouldn't have any toys left. And I'm sure he's got toys.
No, you're right.
Okay. I know I'm right.
Not many, but yes.
Yeah. And I don't doubt that when he throws these eruptions, you do something about it. I don't know what you do, but it's probably way too benign. The reason I asked about the school is because if this kid is, by his nature, by his temperament, just this defiant, nasty human being, then the school would say the same thing.
Yeah.
And they don't have a fraction of your authority here, Mom. So reread that book. And yeah, do you want to go to counseling? Yes, but make sure you get a counselor who will work on your behavior discipline skills, not one who's going to do all kinds of psychobabble, because I get all those folks in my office after they've gone to a counselor for a year and a half and no change was made. Bless you. I know our previous caller, Mom from Florida, if you were just listening, you'd think, Dr. Ray, they're doing everything. Trust me, I've been at this business a long, long time. And almost every person who comes into my office who says we're doing everything, nothing works, nothing is working, and it's getting worse. It is rare when I say, "Oh man, you just got stung with Damien. You got Lucifer." I can't imagine. No, the vast majority of the time, when you start digging down, you find out, oh, okay. I'll just give you a small example, then I'll go to the calls. Mom said he sometimes goes. Well, most parents overestimate the sometime, but I'll leave that aside for now. I asked, who decides when he goes? Well, he does. See, Mom and Dad don't decide that. Mom and Dad don't say, you did X, so therefore please put your head down at the table. No. He decides if he's willing to cooperate or not. Okay, so that's automatically. He's looking at this like, I don't have to listen to you if I don't want to. Now, once he has that attitude, whatever consequence they try to impose, he can resist. He can challenge it. He can erupt. He can throw stuff. And you think, what is wrong with this kid? Well, in most cases, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this child. He has read the situation. Mom admits that it's been like this for some years. So therefore, he has a perception of the dynamic going on between parent and child. He doesn't have that same perception at school. In his mind at school, I better behave and cooperate. And furthermore, they think he's delightful. It's not a matter that he's gritting his teeth and choking back his defiance. He's not doing that at all. He's pleasant. He's likable. So how is that? Because in fact, the school doesn't have a fraction of Mom's authority. Not even close. But yet, his perception is that they do. Because that dynamic of I can challenge you is not in place. Now, here's kind of the bad news. The bad news is, if in fact he stays that difficult for his parents for another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, he will probably start pushing on the school. So, just a thought there. All right. I tell Mom to go back to discipline that lasts a lifetime. Talks about a 7-year-old. He can write sentences. He can stand in the corner. If that doesn't work, you can black him out. It works almost all the time. So we got to find out. Okay, let's go to very quickly. Just a quick preface before I go to John, which is he's right. Now, we're not going to argue, as the experts would indict, the appropriateness of a swat on the bottom or a spank because, it's just that's the one child rearing evil left. You could let that kid have a smartphone when he's 8. You can put him in front of the most vile, awful, vicious video games you could ever think of, and they won't say anything about it. But don't swat his bottom, because you're just an evil, abusive parent if you do. So John's got a point to make here. Hi, John.
Hello, Dr. Ray. Thanks for having me on.
Sure.
So, yes, I was successfully raised by the look, and the reason, I theorized it was effective is there was always some type of emotional or anger or physical things that were going to happen to me if I didn't, if I didn't yield to the look. And I just haven't seen that to be as effective if there's not some type of anger or emotional behind it, because I know I would pick up on the nonverbal signals pretty quick. I would see my mom grit her teeth, and the same with my father, and I just knew that something bad was going to happen, and so I took that as the warning sign, as it was. And today I'm my wife doesn't let me get angry or or throw fits with the children. We think we've evolved, and I just curious: is there a way to make the look effective without necessarily having to freak out on them?
Well, I think your proposition that the look worked because it was an angry look may have been a stern-like warning, but I think the look works when it's just a quiet sort of almost semi-perplexed, I'm looking at you, please stop that because I've acted in the past and I will act again. So actually, my point would be that the look is even more effective if it doesn't have anger and if it doesn't look threatening. It's a look that's it's a quiet warn of I will act here. Now, whatever that action is, it doesn't have to be spanking. It can certainly just be a consequence. My wife would look at the kids in church, and if they're acting up in church, she'd look at them, and that look usually meant, please settle down, or when we get home, you're in the corner, because she had done that many times before. She'd look at me like that and put me in the corner. So as long as the look is connected, a la Pavlov, with action either immediate or later, the look comes to just speak for itself, if you will. You don't really have to have the nastiness. Your parents gave you the look because they were fed up. John's acting up and I'm getting sick of it. In other words, you're pushing me, John. As opposed to, hey, John, please stop or I'm going to do something. Either way would have worked. But the problem with the anger look is that, it's almost as if you're saying, kid, you're driving me crazy. And kid, I have to get mad before I do something. And that's not what you want to do. You want to do something because it's wrong.
Right. And it could have been the stress, right? When they had a lot of stress. They had quite a few children, and that seemed to be the easier, most efficient, quickest way is just get angry and take care of it. Where perhaps just a calm approach is more effective.
And this way, your wife can't get mad at you either, because if your wife thinks you're being intimidating or nasty or disciplining because I've had enough, that can make them feel like, come on, John, tone it down, easy.
Yeah.
But she can't get mad at you if you just kind of tilt your head and look over and catch their eye. And if that doesn't work, then you're going to do something about it.
Okay.
There you go, my friend.
Very good, Dr. Ray.
All righty. I'll talk to you.
Thanks so much.
All righty. This is Dr. Ray. Got to go to a hard break. That's radio lingo. Hard break means not because hard is in it's effortful and I don't want to go there. Hard in the sense that it's inflexible. There it is. See that music? Music basically, there's no words to the music. But if we were to put words to the music, it would be shut up, Ray. You're done talking. Good moms will let you lick the beaters after making brownies. That's right. Great moms turn them off first. All right, let's go to Maria from Columbus, St. Gabriel Radio. Hi, Maria.
Hi.
I just met a girl named Maria. Thank you.
That's right. I would like your thoughts on whether I should allow my high school senior, who was diagnosed with autism when he was 4, to attend college after high school, which he wants to do, but which I think will find him flunking out. Or should I insist that he attends vocational training, which he absolutely does not want to do, but which I think would be a better fit for him? So I guess I'd just like your thoughts on
he's
that.
unrealistic about college. As how much has he struggled in high school?
Well, he's been in collab classes, so classes with instructional intervention specialists a lot. So actually, high school has been fine for him, but that's because it's been tailored to him. And he's does pretty well because he works really hard and he has a really good attitude and he's not a behavior problem. So I think compared to peers in his situation, things have been really good for him. And the teachers have all been really kind to him and they really work with him. So I think that's has backfired then because he thinks he can go to college. He does have siblings who are currently in college. And in the area that we live, most people do that kind of a thing.
Well, you're in Columbus, so Columbus is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. So I'm familiar with several colleges and universities close to home, right?
Yes, and I did tell him, I thought he wouldn't even get into college, and I told him he had to apply to colleges that were close. And so he did, and he got into everything he applied to, which was shocking to us.
Well, they looked at his grade point. They didn't realize how much help he had to get that grade point.
Right. Maybe that's it. We do not know. Yeah, because that was our first plan was he wouldn't be allowed to, or he wouldn't be admitted, and he was.
So if you say to him, "It's my opinion, son, that you can't handle college, and we're not going to pay for it," what would he do?
Well, we could say that. I guess that's what my husband tried to set out a logical explanation about how his strengths are elsewhere, which like he can repair lawnmowers. He's really good at that. He cuts people's grass. So he was saying how he could, and he likes to work by himself so that he could own his own business and something like that. But my son was not buying it. So yeah, if we said we wouldn't pay for it, we kind of don't want to do that.
Okay, I know. I'm not suggesting you do. I'm just wanting to know whether he would react and say, well, I'm going to move out, or he would sit at home and be resentful. He would refuse to go into vocational.
He'd probably he would be sad. I tried to get him in vocational school in 10th grade. That's when our school district starts that program. And I had him registered, and he was ready to go, and he was so upset. He just kept crying and crying, and he went to school, and he talked to the teachers, and they made a plan for him to go to college. So once he almost, I guess I wouldn't say a breakdown, but he was so upset and crying, not angry. So that was the first taste of how against he was. Oh, and I made him go visit the vocational school 3 or 4 times, and he did not like what he saw there because, again, the people who go there, and my dad worked at a steel mill, my husband's dad worked in a prison, and all that. So we have blue collar people, but the divide is growing, I think. And so he saw that the people there did not look like the people at his high school, and that was another thing that he noticed. So he is really against doing any vocational type of a thing.
Part of it may be that he's got this preconceived notion of what kind of vocational training it is. For example, here in Canton, North Canton, where I live, 2 miles from my house is Stark State Technical College, which gives you a 2-year degree in a whole lot of neat things. And these are college kids, and they are getting trained in something where they're going to get out and make buku bucks. So I think it sounds like what your son's going to have to experience first is college. So if you say, and again, this you're probably going to lose your money. That's the problem. If you say, all right, we'll put you in for the first semester. Let's see how it goes. Now, the other question is, what do you want to major in, son? I mean, we're not going to get ourselves into loan territory when you're going to come out with a bachelor's degree and go somewhere and work completely outside your field. What do you want to major in? Does he know?
And that's what my husband did have that, and that's where my son said he could do business, and that's where my husband was trying to tie in. Yeah, at our community college here, we thought he could take some vocational classes, but then also take some business classes. But he just did not. He did not go for that. And then my husband also thought when he does flunk out, which he probably will at a normal college or a 4-year college, my husband thought that would crush him too. So that's why I just was wondering if you had experience with this. And I feel like I don't have any good options because I can't make him, I guess, and that's what I've heard you talk about. You can't make people do something. And
you got less bad options here, Maria. You got less bad options. Well, if you're asking me to take a guess, I'd probably say, well, son, let's see how you handle college. We'll pay for the first semester, and our payment will be predicated upon how you do. You come out with a 1.2, and we're not paying for a second semester.
Yeah.
That's possible. Now, if you don't have the money, that's different. You can say, well, we don't have the money. We can't do it. We can't send you to college. But then he'll say, you sent my brothers and sisters to college. Yeah, okay. So I would do that because what you're playing for is to let him see, not necessarily that I'm a failure, but that I get frustrated trying to keep up with the work. And at that point, you say, well, son, the options that you have, which are college-like, will get you a better career. And he may, at that point, not be so willing to shut down, because it sounds like he's very unrealistic about his capabilities.
Yes, he is, but that's my fault because we never told him he has a diagnosis. And like I said, school has been set up, and our whole lives have been set up that he just thinks he just needs extra help.
Well, I wouldn't tell him he has a diagnosis. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't tell him. I'd just simply say, son, let's see how you do. College isn't for everybody. Let's see how you do. People who are right now the most comfortable making money. My son just got out of the Army about a year ago. He took welding, and right now he is taking HVAC. And as soon as he's done with that coursework, he's going to step out into a nice job. He tried college for a year and a half, but you're not going to reason with your son, Maria. That's the problem. You're not going to reason with him. So you either say, we're not paying, son, and you're going to have to melt down, or we'll give you your chance. Here's your chance. Let's see how it goes. That's what I would probably do.
Yeah, well, and that is what we thought. And my husband did say, because we have helped him a lot during high school, he said, we cannot help you anymore with your work.
Prove to me you can do it.
We tried to set up the expectation. Yeah.
Prove to me you can do it.
All right.
Okay. Good luck, Maria. Thanks, hon.
Okay,
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
This is Dr. Ray. I went to college, and if I would have stopped with a bachelor's right now, what would I be doing? Well, it wouldn't be shrinkology, that's for sure.
Today's programming is brought to you in part by a gift from our day sponsor, Dennis and Diane McMillan. Thank you so much for your donation to help build the church and bless the nations.
Now you can support Ave Maria Radio by becoming a day sponsor too. Send anyone a message, a friend, a family member, or a priest, just someone close by. Call 877-288-1077 and tell them you want to be a day sponsor. Fire on the Earth's Peter Herbeck.
Without the light that comes from Christ, we walk in darkness. And darkness is a way of describing this fallen world in which we don't know why we're here even. We can't touch meaning because we ultimately can't see God, and we can't be satisfied because we were made for God. We were made as this entire creation. The whole cosmos was made to the glory of God. It all exists to reveal the glory and the majesty, the beauty, the complexity, the creative love and power of God. And all of it gives praise to him, except for fallen angels and rebellious human hearts. We're made literally to live for the glory of God, to worship him, to give thanks to him. That's what heaven is. It's not just a big prayer meeting, but it is the full celebration of free souls and creatures just overwhelmed by the majesty and beauty of God. And we're sharing in it. We're not just watching it like we do on a movie, that when it's over, it's over. We're in it. We're sharing in the life. And it's total and absolute fulfillment. We can't hardly even imagine what that's like. The best we can do in this world is to have some measure of distraction or something that makes me feel good temporarily, or temporary goals that we kind of have hope in. Those intermediate goals are good goals, but they don't solve the big problem. They don't produce genuine heart that brings peace to the soul and transformation.
Peter Herbeck spreads Fire on the Earth, weekday mornings at 6:30 and again at 11:45 on Ave Maria Radio.
Got to do some congratulations here. My dear friend Tom Oglesby at Aquinas Communications. Tom's a great guy. Matter of fact, I did my last presentation right before the COVID shutdown to Tom. I think the next day they shut everything down, and I had spoken at, I think, a fundraiser, and with them. Congratulations. KCRD 98.3 FM and 91.9 FM. They serve Dubuque, Iowa, and Galena, Illinois. 10 years anniversary this week. My friend Tom Oglesby and all the folks at Aquinas. Also got to talk about February. Our publishing book here, EWTN, Pilgrims Pray by Father Thomas Dubé. Father Dubé shows you how to grow in intimacy with the Father, how to respond to the Holy Spirit's grace with humility, trust, and joy. Pilgrims Pray, a treasury of peace for all who seek to journey with Jesus, Mary, the saints, along the narrow way. Pilgrims Pray by Father Thomas Dubé. That's available at EWTNRC.com. All right, glad to be able to read that. What else do I have here? On to the books. It was an interesting point that John made. For him, the look was connected to an angry look, a frustrated look, a had enough look. So he saw that as a warning, but a threatening warning. I think the look can simply be powered by its backup, which is I look at you, you can see me looking at you, and you know how to convey a warning look without being a nasty look. All you got to do is just back it up a few times. Now, believe it or not, our caller, our anonymous mom, who called from Florida, who said this kid's just getting to be more eruptive and more trouble for him as he gets older, and he's 7 now. And I've met very few 7-year-olds. I got to tell you this. I've been doing this a long time. I've met very, very few 7-year-olds who, in fact, are so defiant and so belligerent that there is nothing you can do to get them under control. That's almost unheard of. We're not talking a 15-year-old here who the cops have to come in. We're talking a 7-year-old. I wrote a book called Taught by 10, and it said, subtitle, Psychologist's Father Learns from His 10 Children. Some of my children have histories, because we didn't get them all at birth. They have histories or they have womb environments that were very, very risky. They were bathed in chemicals. They were bathed in alcohol in the womb. Now, the research is very clear that, in fact, if this happens to you, it can affect your judgment. It can affect your intellect. It can affect your socialization pace. It can affect your conscience formation. It's just real clear. That's just the way it is. So what I'm saying is that some of my 10 children did not have anywhere near the clean womb environment that many parents that I see who come in who are good, loving people, and mom took great care of herself when the baby was in the womb. And some of my children were adopted later, and they didn't have those early years of the kind of loving, caring supervision that you would hope a kid would have during those years. So where am I going with this? My wife and I did not have the kind of defiance that so many parents talk about. Now, you think we should have. With at least a couple of our kids, we should have had that kind of in-your-face temper tantrum throwing, house destructive defiance. We never had any of the kids attack the house. And we rarely had any kind of defiance. Now, do we have sneakiness? Yeah, we had that. Deception? Yeah, we had some of that. Immaturity? Yeah, we had some of that. But we did not have that in-your-face, I'm going to melt down, throw a major league fit eruption after the first few months of our disciplining them, because they weren't dumb. They knew, if mom and dad are going to do this, I don't want to keep testing it. So some kids just overwhelm their parents. If you have 3 kids and 2 of them your parenting is sufficient for, your discipline is sufficient for, you think, okay, all right, this is what you do. This is how you parent. This is how you discipline. But then you got that third kid who, the way he's wired or the way he's put together, he's more likely to look for the loopholes in your authority, and he finds them. And he commandeers them. So because of that, it makes it look like the child is indeed incorrigible. But he's not. He's not. You just probably underestimate the kind of perseverance, the kind of consistency, the kind of follow-through, the kind of clear consequences that you need to have. I found that out with our kids. We did not have behavior problems. We had other kinds of problems. We didn't have behavior problems. We should have, especially given some of their histories, but we didn't. So it taught me. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Andrew Kruchek, Eric Dumont, my compatriots there at AVE, and thank you, EWTN, for running this program. And thank you, my son Peter, who, after all these years on the air, during his whole lifetime I've been on the air, he still calls while I'm on the air. That'll humble you. Walk with God. And don't throw a fit because you have to walk with him.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.